Today we're going to talk about 3 common audio problems you might run into in the courtroom and how to fix them. Audio is probably one of the trickier things to deal with when it comes to presenting evidence during a trial. And a big reason for that is that it still doesn't come up all that often. A lot of the times there's a hearsay issue, and so audio is frequently turned off or removed from video or other exhibits that might otherwise have them. But there are times where you might need to be able to display or publish audio from your laptop, whether it's from surveillance camera footage or body cam footage, or if it's from a video deposition where there's an impeachment or designations. The list goes on and on. There's lots of reasons why you might need to play audio, and there's a lot of reasons why it might not work. And so the 3 problems that I want to tackle today are no audio, low audio, and distorted audio. So the first one I want to talk about is no audio. You might get to the courtroom and it looks like you could look in your taskbar in the bottom here and it could look like there's audio there, but when you go to play something, maybe it doesn't play. And so first I would check to make sure that that video file just works. So hopefully the first time you haven't tried to listen to it is in the courtroom. You've tried listening to it before in the war room or as you were getting ready for trial on the computer that you want to play it from or the iPad that you want to play it from. That's one thing that I would do beforehand no matter what. But if everything else seems to work, but you still have no audio, what I would do is come down to this taskbar down here. And sometimes you might find that there's a little caret right there and you can click on that and choose from a couple of different speakers. And so what happens is sometimes when you have a computer connected to a courtroom system that's connected by HDMI cable, you might not be choosing the right audio output, right? And so when you connect an HDMI cable, your laptop's going to think, send the video to the projection screen and also send the audio to the projection screen. But in my particular situation, for example, I have a set of speakers that are connected to my laptop through the headphone jack. And for me to use that, I have to connect to this speakers rather than this USB, the U28, whatever, C option. If I wanted my audio to come through the TV that my laptop is connected to, then I would choose this. If I wanted to come through the speakers that I've connected to the headphone jack, I choose that. And then when I do that, when I change this around, I'll get a little notification and I can hear the sound is coming through properly. If I do this and choose the other option, the TV, which is muted right now, and I try to adjust the audio, I don't hear anything. What you want to make sure that you do is you have the right speakers selected. That's probably the most common reason why you're not getting any audio. The next problem that you might run into is the audio is just not loud enough, right? So you might have this set correctly where you've picked the right output and you can hear the bing, but it's just not loud enough for whatever reason. And you might be cranking it all the way up to 100 and it's still just not loud enough. You have to remember that in a courtroom, there's 2 places where you could be controlling the audio volume, and you have to make sure both of those are turned pretty much all the way up. One is on your computer or your source device, whether it's an iPad or a laptop. The other place is the courtroom system itself. So the courtroom system itself has its own knob that you can control how loud things go. Now, generally, most courtrooms, at least federal courtrooms, are configured so that the speakers never get too loud. And so you're pretty much going to have to ask the clerk or the judge to crank it all the way up. And then you're going to need to crank yours almost all the way up as well in order to get things loud enough. Test that out before the trial starts so that way you can know if you need to contact a vendor to bring you extra speakers if what you have still isn't loud enough. Now, the third problem you might run into is when you've got everything cranked up loud enough, it might be loud, but it might also be really distorted and really fuzzy all of a sudden, and something that sounded just fine in your office all of a sudden sounds real crackly once you try to play it loud enough so a jury can hear. The way that you will fix that issue is by turning one of the 2 volume sources down. And so what I typically recommend is turn the courtroom system almost all the way up and then crank up your laptop or your source system up most of the way. Try not to go more than like 3/4, 8/10 of the way there. Once you get both systems really high, that leads to a lot of potential for crackling and distortion, and so you could get problems that way. If you're turning it up to a point as loud as it gets without getting the crackling, and it's still not loud enough, Again, that might be something where you might need to contact a vendor or bring in your own outside speakers. There's a million reasons why audio can go wrong. Hopefully these 3 solutions cover most of the scenarios that you might come across. If there's something that you've come across that's not on my list, let me know about it. I'd love to know about it in the comments and trade war stories. Or if you have any questions about audio in the courtroom, feel free to leave them down there. I'd love to talk to you down there. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.